Meet Vicki. Vicki is 51 years old. She lives in New York City. She's a medical writer for work. She's an astronomy junkie, a bookworm, and unlike all or most of you, she only has one kidney. When Vicki was 30, her dad died of a sudden aneurysm. The family found his organ donor card, donated all of his organs, and 20 years later, they still get updates about how those recipients are doing. This got Vicki thinking, hey, maybe I'll donate an organ, and kidney was the first thing that came to mind. It made the most sense, so she looked into altruistic or anonymous organ donation. But she stayed on the fence for a couple years, until one day when her friend Holly from Portland, Oregon came to visit. They were standing in Vicki's kitchen when Holly got a Facebook notification from a good friend that said that friend's husband needed a live kidney donor, and soon. This is Mike. He lives in Portland, Oregon. He's 48 and he lives there with his family. Mike has a genetic condition called polycystic kidney disease that afflicts 500,000 people in the US. When Mike's kidney function got to the point of renal failure, he got on the organ donation list. Now, 90% of all organs donated are kidneys. 70% of kidneys donated are donated by deceased people. And things like traffic safety and medical progress mean that the demand outpaces the supply. Mike knew he wouldn't outlive the 3.5-year wait time, so he needed a live donor. But he was ashamed and embarrassed. And even if he was going to ask, how the heck do you ask? Fortunately, his wife, Jennifer, and his sister, Sue, that's me, prevailed upon him to build, seriously, he will really hate when he sees that, to build a web campaign for his ask. What happened next is a miracle. 2 people, veritable strangers, met at a hospital in Portland. 2 successful surgeries, 2 now healthy people, and 1 donor, that's Vicki, who describes this experience as euphoric. You might think kidney transplants are the norm. We've been doing them since the 50s. But only 6,000 kidney transplants are done by living donors, and only 2,000 of those are in situations where the donor doesn't know or is related to the recipient. And this is Mike, and man, I dig my brother. But the fact is, he's just a guy. We all are special, and we all have our thing. The unique thing about kidney disease, it can actually be cured by the act of one human. We talk about biological matching, but this is a whole different kind of match. This is a symmetrical exchange between one person's deepest need and another incredible act of kindness. Now, that magic also happens in deceased organ donation. Here's that story about the woman who was walked down the aisle by the man who had received her late father's heart. That is magic. But in that case, someone had to die. Not only in living donation does no one have to die, but in fact, there is surgical risk, but no long-term evidence of any long-term health issues. And most live donors are back at peak performance within months. Now, I get it. Kidney donation, even if you do donate, is part of one of these chains, which are extraordinary, where you don't need to know the donor, you don't need to be related to the donor. You just contribute to what could become a 50-person chain. Kidney donation, I think, is a win for all. For the recipient, it makes a massive difference. Live donor kidneys are 2 times more effective and long-lasting than deceased donor kidneys. And still, man, it's hard to ask, which is why more live donations don't happen. The biggest reason is that people are afraid to ask. And I wonder, when it's my time, how will I handle that? Because like my brother and our father who died of PKD, I also have a kidney disease. I don't need a kidney now. It'll be a few years. So tonight, I'm asking for the other 100,000 plus, and I'm willing to do this because I know there are donors like Vicki for whom this one act in life was ultimately fulfilling. Maybe that's you, and if it is, visit waitlist0.org, check, do the research, see what you think. Vicki says that her only regret is that she doesn't have another kidney to give. She also says that she hopes anyone who does this gets a donee as awesome as my brother. What she doesn't know is that now that my brother is healthy, he can be a real pain in the ass. Thanks, guys.